Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Tower Cast Network by Cinephiles for Cinephiles.
Yeah, podcast!
Now officially the only film podcast in El Paso filmed during the daytime.
Is that official?
Yep.
Where'd you get those statistics?
Yeah.
I made it. It's not good science. But
I have zero idea when this episode drops, but
It'll drop.
I'll be
but when it hits,
I'll be selfish and say two things. Please subscribe,
Yes, please.
share, like, comment this podcast.
We'll take a second.
I think it's
Just
gonna
do it.
be
Do it.
later.
Do it.
I think I know what you're gonna
Do
say.
it.
Yeah, I don't know if it is. When does this drop?
September 16th.
Okay. Go to the El Paso Film Festival
man.
on September
No.
26th through the 28th.
16th. He said 16th.
Wait,
no?
stand by.
16th is about to be
16th.
Okay.
Yeah!
Go to the El Paso Film Festival from September 26th through the 28th. There's a bunch of people and films and situations going on.
I'll be there.
This is
You
what it's
will.
all about.
There'll be free panels
What the
of
fuck?
like
What? I
crazy
don't
good
know, dude. Look at
filmmakers
that.
talking about, you
Some good
know,
low shit
different
right there.
topics. And there'll be great films from all over the world, literally all over the world,
Yes.
playing at the festival. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we get the honor of screening our short film, So Who Was It This Time, at its world premiere in El Paso at our hometown festival, which we're really proud of and really happy about.
Where's your hometown?
Who knows, these days in this economy?
915.
Oh, watch
Damn.
out. We got Aaron Jones over here. You want some gloves?
Yeah.
How long? I like to ask this. How long did it take to do the whole film?
2 minutes.
Pre-production.
2.5 if you're really pumping. So we were in prep for 6 months. Then we shot.
Felt like we were in prep for a year, no?
No, we were in prep
Whoa.
for 6 months.
6 months prep.
We're in prep for 6 months. We shot for 2 days. We had rehearsals and stuff for like a week. And then we did post in 3 months, maybe more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of 9.
Call it a year.
10.
5 months maybe for post.
So yeah, call it a year.
A year.
A year from
So you
start to
know
finish.
these guys put in work. So that's one of the
Oh, yeah.
films that's
Yeah.
definitely a must watch.
And you can hear us talk about how we went about that at
Yeah.
the panel of the making of the film. The official title of the panel is Producing and Directing a Low-Budget Short Film.
Nice.
It'll be at the Plaza Theater.
Yes, sir.
Thousands of seats. Invite your grandma. I don't care. It's free.
Yeah.
So, like, it's free. And
What
if
do
your
you have
grandma
to
wants to know how to
lose?
make a film, have her come on down.
Can my grandma invite her neighbor?
She sure
Dude.
can.
I love your grandma's neighbor.
September 28th is when our panel and film is. September 28th, 1:30 p.m. at the Plaza Theater.
What day is it?
It's a Saturday.
Saturday.
And we'll have the Plaza Theater. We'll talk about the film. We might even have a little mini doc showing you better than we can tell you of how to make the film. And we'll also have Eller Coltrane officially.
He's gonna be
in
there.
town. He will
He's
be
gonna
there.
be
That's so
there.
cool.
He's gonna come down. He's gonna be on the panel. This man will be on the panel also,
Hi.
and I'll be on the panel.
Deborah.
And Francis, who's our first AD and producer, she'll be on the panel. And Chuck Horak, the great Chuck Horak, is going to be moderating the panel. It's going to be a great talk. So we'll show the doc. We'll talk about the making of the film, talk about making films and trading war stories. And then immediately after, we'll have half an hour to transition into the Philanthropy Theater. 200 seats, so you got to get tickets. Like, this thing's going to sell out. Not because the film's any good, but because we've been telling people to go.
It's a great film.
It is a great film. We're very happy with it. 200 seats. And we're actually paired with Kevin Ford. If you don't know who Kevin Ford is, go look him up. Go to Netflix, watch Senior. He shot the hell out of that documentary. It's about Robert Downey Jr.'s dad, who is a legendary underground director, Robert Downey Sr. And it's a terrific doc. He shot it. He'll be in town as well, screening his new documentary called Everything is Stolen, that actually stars Eller Coltrane as well. And Eller produced that doc as well. So it's a cool little block that we're all kind of getting together to celebrate. And what can I say, man? We just had a blast making the film, and it's been a long time coming, but we're excited to premiere it at the El Paso Film Festival. There's nowhere
exciting,
else
man.
we'd want to kick off that journey of sharing it with the world. So come join us, El Paso Film Festival. Don't just come for our film. Thursday through Saturday, there's a ton
Yeah.
of stuff going on at
Great
the El Paso.
filmmakers.
Yeah. I would say El Paso Museum of Art, Philanthropy Theater, and the Plaza Theater. That's where the festival is going to take place at these great venues. There's going to be VIP parties and receptions and networking opportunities.
Couple of meet and greets.
We's gonna get silly, bitches.
We's going to get silly bitches. There's wine and whatnot at these receptions.
I love whatnot.
Yeah, whatnot is the best.
Yeah.
But come and join us. No, genuinely, it's going to be a great time. It happens once a year, man, where you get together with other filmmakers and talk about film and really just connect on those fronts.
Also,
We've had the podcast there before, and we had a blast while we were doing the podcast there in person. But this time we're guests, and that's, I don't know, kind of blows our mind a little bit. Go to ElPasoFilmFestival.org. Tickets and badges are already on sale, and you see these ugly mugs on there too because they're considering a special guest, which I think is pretty cool.
it's great. Also, I was going to add that I've talked to a lot of young filmmakers from UTEP and around, and I know a lot of the advice given to them is how do I connect with people?
Oh, great.
And like how do I find a film community? We're really hoping that it being at the El Paso Film Festival, we're also connecting with more people, and especially like when we've gone to other mixers, it's a great way to meet crew, find people, people like, you know, if you write stories or you act, whatever you do, going there has always been a great way to just find your people to make films with. So yeah. Please
Things
come
in
out and
2
support.
weeks. Things in 2 weeks. So the 26th is where it starts.
Well,
You know,
it's 2 weeks for them, but it's 2 weeks from now.
no, it's 2 weeks
From
Yes,
release.
It's 2 weeks from right now.
It's 2
Oh
weeks
my
from right
goodness.
now. In 2
How-
weeks.
how long is
Festival's
now?
in 2 weeks. Again, a good half of portion of this festival is free, and the other half you could get a relatively cheap badge for all of the screenings and all of the receptions. Or you could just pay per ticket of the screenings you do want to go to, and it's like $10. So like, avoid the fees. Don't buy them at Ticketmaster. Buy them at the box office. But
Or what's the one that I use? Like Ticket.
oh gosh,
It was like Ticket Extreme.
yeah, with
And it's
3
legit?
X's.
No, it's because I was trying to buy tickets for
Beetlejuice.
I was gonna try to buy Meg tickets for Beetlejuice, like the musical. But I was like, dude, the tickets are like $400, and he's like, what website are you using? And it wasn't Ticketmaster. It was like Ticket Extreme or some weird.
like,
and he's like, what the
hello.
fuck?
At least
Like,
StubHub or something.
yeah, something that has a
familiar.
name, you know, like that's
So
not
anyways.
written in crayon.
You won't go through that through the El Paso Film Festival because I think it's only selling on Ticketmaster. But yeah, just come join us. It's going to be a great time, and we can't tell you how excited we are. We're telling everybody, more than wanting people to see our film, we just want to connect with people and cultivate that
Especially
community.
if you're an actor, man. This is a great place to go see different movies, catch up with different directors, and somebody could see you.
I've literally seen people at these festivals take their headshots and resumes and just be like, yo, I want to connect with you. I saw your film. I'd love to talk to you. Or whatever, you know?
It's great networking.
Yeah. So just a shameless plug before we get
that's
into our
a beautiful
film today.
plug for our city.
But we're continuing our Western month.
Woo!
If you
Howdy,
haven't
howdy.
caught the Searchers episode, go check it out. We had a great time talking about that picture to kick off this month. But now we're talking about Mr. Michael Lalao's pick, a very big favorite of his, and something I use as like the prime example of a good anthology is the Cohen Brothers 2018 anthology, Western anthology film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's important to know because most people think anthologies are series.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you call it a film when it's
Oh, it's
technically
definitely a film.
It's
cut into 7?
It's
no,
definitely
and
a film.
it's definitely designed to be a film because of the callbacks, and we'll get into that.
Well, it's that. It's intended to be watched in these 2 hours. It's not intended to be watched in parts.
Okay, that's a good- yeah,
So like
true.
the Coen Brothers were very keen about that because while
True,
they were
true.
shooting, everybody thought it was their first dive into TV, and they were like, "We never want to do TV. We have never wanted to do TV. This was always meant to be a film." So just Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Very interesting.
Yeah, this thing totally blew my mind the minute I saw it at first. This
It took me
thing
2 watches to kind of.
Did it really? Did you watch it again afterwards?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Tell us why, man.
Oh my
what is it
goodness!
about this?
So I was going on a big Western kick. Like I loved, like one of my favorite movies, even before I started getting into cinema, was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that kind of like, it's just so interesting to see a Western like that.
Is that part of also a trilogy? My bad.
Yeah,
The Man with No Name trilogy.
Man with No
the
Name.
Sergio Leone's.
And those are so interesting because I feel like I've seen westerns from like the 50s and earlier that are just these, especially like TV shows that are very like hokey pokey, and they just they're kind of silly, they're kind of goofy.
Yeah.
They have the same stories where somebody gets lost and you got to go find them, or like somebody like there's a pair of Indians that are going to come on down and attack
There's
the
a snake in
village.
my
And,
boot.
yeah, and the big cowboy hero comes out and like stops them. And when you watch something like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it's not that. It's this larger epic of a person traveling the I guess not the Midwest, but like the West. And
it is kind of a shame that, and we apologize if you were looking forward to that, but we're not really covering spaghetti westerns in this month. That was kind of a conscious choice because, like, if you're going to talk about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you got to talk about the trilogy. And spaghetti westerns is its own subgenre that I don't think people realize. They just think Clint Eastwood western, and though that's fair, spaghetti westerns were made by Italians, and that's really the basis of it all, because it was the 1970s, and you have Italian filmmakers using Italian neorealism, camera angles and story beats and unconventional cuts and just all these filmmaking tools that they would use in like a Federico Fellini film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And translate that into the American Western, because they loved American Westerns. They loved John Wayne and John Ford and like all these great filmmakers who did Westerns in the 50s. But I love talking about spaghetti Westerns because they're nothing like the typical American Western that people think of when they think of Westerns. They're this gritty, almost like
they're experimental.
Yeah,
like,
you see the shots and you see the grain and the texture in the film, and you're like, "Oh, this feels wrong," but it's right. It's like Taxi Driver setting in genuinely set in the Western, and I love Sergio Leone for that. But Sergio Leone could also flip it and do something like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and then turn around and do like the Robert De Niro one, Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah.
It's crazy versatility, and it's kind of a shame. Let us know if you guys want us to cover spaghetti westerns. We probably do a whole month.
We're going to.
We definitely have to.
But
yeah. I only bring it up because there is a difference, and like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs takes sensibilities from both.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty special because each fucking episode feels so different.
And that was kind of the point of it. Like what I was alluding to was just The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is so non-traditional, and that's what got me more interested in like what westerns could be, and like what are the different types of stories that they could look into. And for Ballad of Buster Scruggs, they wanted to do an anthology of lesser talked about like stories of the Old West. That's why it's an adapted screenplay, because there's a lot of these stories that there was a source material that they adapted into, but
and
it's
they're like
not
these
widely talked about.
Almost like when you go back to like to Disney, right? And you go back to fairy tales, and you go to the traditional, Cinderella, Snow White, whatever. Yeah. A lot of those come from German fairy tales from the 1200s. They've been around forever. But there's some of those stories that nobody cares about. Like everybody was like, this one's cool. We're going to make a movie out of this one and this one and this one.
So Shrugs.
But they'll forget about the whatever fairy tales that are like
50,000 other ones.
Right. And that's kind of what the Westerns are, right? The Westerns that are like these old wives' tales that you would tell your kids about. And that's kind of what Ballad of Buster Scruggs is like. Well, let's take the ones that nobody cares about. These unconventional kind of great stories that are only popular in like Ireland. And we'll bring them into the American Western.
Because even the way that they open up the film, where the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the title character.
That's him, right?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. That story's about that lead protagonist that can take on anybody, and he's the fastest gun in the West, and he's like suit's always white and clean, and his horse named Dan. Like all that, but
played by the brilliant Tim Blake Nelson, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. But all that to just allude to like, oh, this story is about the last time that he just died. And it's not this like
it's not
big
this hero story,
glorified like, oh, he took a bullet, but then he fired one more time and he got that last victory before he died. No, somebody just came into town and said, I've heard that you're pretty good,
But
bam.
But it's a little
hear
bit
of-
deeper than that, right?
It is. I
It
mean, you
is,
hear
but-
of stories like
Yeah,
that,
because
and
he's
you
laughing.
think of
He's got this
like,
big smile.
Yeah.
through the whole,
well, you think of like quotes or sayings of like the Pride Before the Fall.
Yeah.
exactly.
Right, and
Or the
that's-
young guy comes and beats the old guy.
Right, a newer evolution,
uh-huh.
kind of the new. There's a new sheriff in town
Yeah,
type
there
of
you
deal,
go.
right?
That's
Yeah,
right,
for
yeah.
sure.
But that kickstarts the
The
stories
whole
to
story,
come
yeah.
of just
Yeah, it
these
gets
these
darker.
like these not typical
I didn't see it like
frontier
that.
stories,
That's
you
good,
know,
yeah.
and to me, each one has so much value.
Absolutely.
And everybody, I recommend everybody to watch the film because you're always going to find a favorite.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
you're not
Oh,
into
yeah.
westerns, that's the thing. You don't have to be into westerns.
You don't.
You just have to come on in with an open mind.
Something will resonate
and
for sure.
you'll find something to latch onto or something that really sticks with you. And I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
after a while, like all of them have stuck with me
Oh,
in
man.
their
Meal
own
Ticket-
ways.
Meal ticket and the one with the gold.
Meal Ticket
I've always
for the
thought about
longest
like, what if I
time.
find
Yeah.
gold? How am I gonna react?
Meal Ticket
Yeah.
for the longest time was my favorite until we got to the final one. And the,
Oh,
the
that's
final
just 'cause
one
that
is the
was
one that
just-
always gets to me. That always really makes me like think about it a
It's because
lot.
there's so many theories, so many.
No, and then also like the dialogue. I feel like that's one thing I've loved about the Cohen brothers
Yeah.
is I feel like their dialogue and their ability to build characters are unmatched. Like
To build like
Especially the last one.
unconventional characters, right?
yeah,
And to
that
build,
feels
like,
so
yeah,
real,
yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
Like the pan shot guy. Like as goofy as that is, yeah, like he's real and living, and his mannerisms and everything that they add on, and
Yeah.
they've said before, like when you go on a Coen Brothers set, there's not a whole lot of improv. You would think, oh, you improvise this line or that line. They're like, no, they make it to
Yeah.
the T. Like
Also, like,
yeah,
they can get very real
think.
and deep really fast because you get like Austin and I always obsess about it inside Llewyn Davis and how it's probably the most depressing film we've ever seen.
Really?
But because this character is extremely real and you're rooting for him to win the entire picture, but the Coen brothers are just like, nope, that's life. Good,
I like
good luck.
that.
And you know, obviously,
it real.
guys like Oscar Isaac pay off. We covered a Serious Man on this podcast,
Yeah.
and it's very much that situation
Yeah.
too. We go through the journey of this character and how life sucks and it's bullshit and divorce and separation and infidelity and being a father and whatever, and then natural disaster, tough shit. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The Coen brothers know how to do that really well, and it's depressing as fuck, but it's also like it
that's-
makes you feel human.
And that's
you know?
basically the whole theme of this one, right? The inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the representation of the American West is manifest destiny, pushing boundaries, pushing the American frontier,
and change.
Yes.
but
change.
because of that, right? That's what the West represents: is
Yeah.
change, inevitable change, and how better to put that in this? You know, a lot of these are 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. How can we package these? The world is changing into this small package or set of packages, bite-sized packages, and it's also tackling it almost chronologically. Because
Well, I was almost saying it more like in the sense of death, right? Like it could come at you all of a sudden or
Oh, sure.
a slow burner,
Yeah.
but that's the inevitable, right? You're going to die.
come
You
to think of it,
you just don't
there's
know when.
death. There's present in every single episode for
Yeah.
sure, right?
That's what I got out of it.
Oh
It's-
yeah,
it's-
absolutely. No, I noticed that this time around too, and it hit a little heavier. Where I'm like, shit, yeah,
It's
that's
like
true.
it could be taken or a
Also-
slow burner, like yeah.
Also, I feel like the way that they portray death is not this like not this final stance or this glory or this like big fading out. It's always these kind of quick snaps, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're just done. Like they're
Yeah.
gone. Even like Buster Scruggs, like he's singing that song, but when he died, like that moment, it's like, oh wait, that's not good, and he just falls over. It's not like this big old
But
cheer.
why does he
There's
go out and sing?
there's
What
an
was-
interesting
Is that
thing
just the
about
Coen Brothers,
that.
kind of like a
Well,
twist?
yeah, that's just their quirky,
Like a
fun
Keanu
little
King
shit. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the music plays a huge role in this film. In these films, specifically the song that Buster Scruggs. You want me now? I'm trying to say Buster Douglas. You son of a bitch. Buster Scruggs says.
Dusty
I've been
Douglas.
saying that thing my whole life, and you guys want me to change it to Scrubs.
Buster Douglas. No, but the song that he sings is actually an old Western song.
love that.
That if you listen to the lyrics, the song is about a gunslinger who is dying. He gets shot and is dying slowly, and asks a traveling cowboy to be a witness to his death. So that
that's
at least
sad.
somebody buries him, and
That's-
like,
yeah.
and that's
The
what
one he
song's
sings at
about.
the end?
That's-
No, in the
The asking for water song?
yes.
Really?
So it's very much that, you know. Again, the music plays a huge importance, and they got it from old songbooks or traveling singers that pass songs on from generation to generation about these old Western tales.
Yeah.
And they kept that pretty true to form, you know.
I also heard too, like, you know how on the second one with James Franco, when he's about to get hanged, the famous line, first time. I heard that's actually kind of how it was back in the days, where some people would bring humor out of like situations before they would get executed. Like,
that's fair.
Like, there was one where, like, if when he was about to get hanged, he was like, "Are you sure this thing's safe?" Just as the last words to have an imprint into the history.
I think that's one of the things I appreciate. I may not like how it makes me feel at first, but that I appreciate from the Coen brothers is they think they're leading you into thinking that you're gonna get a conventional movie ending.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Our hero's going to get saved. There's no way he doesn't get fucking saved. There's no way he doesn't survive this. Or she doesn't survive this. Like Zoe Kazan's character in the Oregon Trail episode. Like, there's no way they don't get their happy ending.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it conditions audiences to be like, it doesn't fucking have to be that way. You know? I think that's so important and crucial for cinema that is trying to tell stories unconventionally, to deliver something that they want to say. And like American audiences, especially because of like Westerns and the hero saving the girl or whatever, that's a huge staple in Westerns is the there's a name for it. The girl that needs saving.
Damsel in distress.
The damsel in distress. It's such a huge theme in Westerns. And then the hero gets the damsel and then she's saved. I mean, we just covered it in The Searchers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not happening with Snow
It's not
White.
happening with Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I love that. I love that the Coen brothers, their darker nature of storytelling, allows for cinema to be more expansive. And I think the Ballad of Buster Scruggs hits that on the nose each episode.
Yeah.
Like Neil Ticket, man, and oh god, all of them, just all of them.
Yeah.
Neil Ticket was my
like,
favorite for the longest time.
Dude, it's just so real and, like I said, inevitable for that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, he just gets him placed with a
Like,
chicken.
I think what's interesting is that there's a line that Buster Scruggs says right after he shoots that guy, and he's like, oh, okay, cause for reflection. And then he's about to sing a song, but gets interrupted by the guy who's going to kill him next. And it's interesting because that's that pause that's there in every episode. Like, when somebody dies, you're just left to kind of like, well, there's the end, so I guess I should think about this. I guess I should feel something.
Right.
And in that reflection, each one, I guess, has their own way of, like, interpreting the next phase, the next step,
Also, I don't think this was touched upon a lot until we got to the Oregon Trail episode, because this was the Old West. This was, disease and plagues and...
He had a nervous cough.
Yeah, people were dying. Right?
Yeah.
And they had to make, most people were dead by 40. Like, that was the life expectancy then. So, like...
Probably less.
Right.
Bring it back.
And it's interesting to kind of feel out what they consider a full life, right? Which is why it makes it all that much more heartbreaking, for instance, with her character, right? They were finally looking to settle down and start a life and live out the rest of their lives doing something farming, positive, having a family.
Remind me again why she shot herself?
Because the older cowboy is like, it's horrible if they catch you. They will torture you.
Yeah, but
He basically said, if I'm licked...
I remember, I just me as a guy that put myself in that situation, I would have shot myself at the very end.
Well, you see, she was told, if you see that, I don't make it out.
That's
true.
what happened. So what happened is that he's like, if I'm licked and like, then you shoot yourself, because if I'm okay, then that means I can protect you and you'll be fine and all that. And then when the guy gets knocked down, he's pretending to be dead so he can shoot the last Indian. And then
isn't that the theme of that one too? Because she's constantly, once her brother, the male figure in her life, dies, she's constantly seeking help from another male figure that's going to tell her what to do next.
And that was always kind of her character flaw, is that she even talks about it with Arthur. Not Arthur. Is that the name of the guy?
No, the younger
interest,
guy. No, it wasn't Arthur, was it?
Or Arthur was the...
You might be right.
No, because I think Arthur was the older one.
You're right. Arthur is the older one. Yeah.
But I remember With the younger one, she tells him like, "Oh, he always complained that I was too wishy-washy, that I would never like act for myself." And at the end of the day, the reason she killed herself is because she was kind of persuaded that, oh, instead of thinking like I can handle this, just follow my lead. You know, even if it's a bad idea. She's even traveling to Oregon, not because she has any opportunity herself, but because her brother says, "I'm gonna have opportunity if you marry that guy." Then it'll be good. And then even like
the only thing you can do as a woman is marry to succeed, right?
And then even like when she's talking to that guy, the guy was like, "Oh, you could marry me." And then Billy Knapp. And then Billy Knapp's like, "Oh, if you marry me, then we'll have our own place and we get more money." So there you go. Yeah. And it's like, or, you know, don't. And I think that's kind of like the sad part is that, you know, as much as you care about her
at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like she was choosing to marry. She was being propositioned and choosing to marry for love, right? For interest, not for financial gain.
Right, but don't you feel like at the end of the day that character flaw of her just always taking what people say for face value?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Then at the end of the day, like, you know...
Taking for face value, I'm licked, so shoot yourself.
Exactly. That's like, a good way to put it, because that's why... She was willing to die by that instinctual principle.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so interesting. I think it's also a commentary on the female mind, right? And how they at the time, that's what they're expected to do, is to follow the lead of a man.
Women.
And now, you know, obviously, like it's a flaw.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting to cover in that kind of packaging. It's very cool.
Before we deep dive into everything else, do you want to go into ratings?
Oh, dude, I haven't even thought about a rating.
6. No, I'm kidding.
Because if it was when we watched it, dude, it was going to be a low rating.
Because you needed another screen.
Yeah, I just needed to see what was going on with this.
Well, let's circle like that. So, Carlos, what would you rate this? I know you say that you think it's a great depiction of Anthology.
I do.
I think an Anthology, if anything, I'd like to think that it boosts up the score in its cinema rating because it's able to give you a lot of high and low points on a bunch of different stories that all like come together.
Anthology, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's tough to find through lines in stories and multiple storylines in one. And you know, you look at guys like Tarantino and Pulp Fiction and how technically those are all different stories that ended up kind of fusing together.
You have no right to talk about Quentin Tarantino.
Well, yeah, I do.
When you're shitting on the last 2 films that we watched.
Yeah,
I'll just play.
But that's what I love about something like Ballad of Buster Scruggs is that the through line is what you make of it. You know, I mean, sure, the very superficial through line is Western, right? A collection of Western stories. But we just talked about one of the through lines being death. You know, we just talked about a lot of the through lines being the chronology of change and Westerns and the final frontier, because that's how people looked at it back in the days. How far west can we go? Let's manifest destiny. And there's so many through lines, like both on the surface level and like very deeply. So I agree with you. I think that ups the cinematic value because it's not easy. It's not easy to like sew these things together. And you know, it took them 20 years to make this film, in the sense that they've been in development for this thing for 20 years.
I did read that too.
And like they would even tell, like Tim Blake Nelson was always attached, you know, and he was always going to play Buster Scruggs. But he was like, it was kind of good for me, man, because it allowed me to learn the guitar. It allowed me to, you know, sing and learn how to sing and, you know, that type of thing, so that he could actually, you know, play the character properly. But I do think it's hard, and because of that, I think the cinematic value does get up solely because anthologies don't really exist anymore, and if they do, it's easy to toss them into an episodic front. Because that's the natural break of things, right? You can do 30-minute episodes to tell one season of a story. But when it's done in the films, I love how niche of a genre it is. You know, I always point out Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I point out, like anthologies. If it's not in the horror scope, they don't exist anymore, right? Yeah. Like Ballad of Buster Scruggs, I always use like New York Stories as an example. You know, Coppola, Woody Allen, Scorsese did a New York Stories. Yeah. I always use The Four Rooms as an example. You know, Tarantino, Rodriguez. I use those because that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, true.
So for these guys to try to develop this thing for 20 years and say we have five solid stories that take place in the Old West. that all have to do with death.
And all from the same directing pair.
And all for the same directing pair. Absolutely impressive. I'm somewhere at a 9 for this one, maybe 9.1. Pretty strong 9.1 for this. I also think this thing didn't get a lot of love, and it didn't get the love it deserved. It got tons of love in festivals.
Didn't hear much about it.
But this was interesting because 2018 was a weird transitional year. This was when streaming was really, really, really hitting peak, and film financing was changing. So this was one of Netflix's most expensive original films.
It was during that big transition when you saw a lot of streaming services making
$100 million.
films. Like high budget pictures. Where before it was like, we'll make something cheap and it'll go on streaming.
That was kind of the beginning of the studios on their way out for big budget pictures, unless it was like a Marvel or Star Wars. But Netflix comes in and says, I think the budget for this thing was like 80 mil or something in that vein. Netflix comes and says, here's money, go make it. And, it paid off, but I don't think most people know about this thing. So,
How many were there? 7 or 5?
I think there's 5, no?
There's 5. Yeah. There's Buster Scruggs, the bank robber, the meal ticket,
Gold.
The gold.
And then
Searching. No, there's 6 because then there's the
Oregon Trail,
and then the final one.
Yeah, you're right. 6.
There's just 6.
6? Okay, I thought it was 7.
I can't think of a 7th.
Okay, no, my bad.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, Mr. Pocket. How about yourself?
Go here, Mr. Pocket.
After the second watch,
I've been called Mr. Pocket.
Not
Not for the reasons you think.
Yeah, I'm like, from who? I'm a big Cohen Brothers fan.
Yeah,
I love their storytelling. This one was kind of different. It takes 6 different stories. I like how they all get a little bit darker, but I like how they blend it with a little bit of humor.
very Cohen Brothers thing to do, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm a big fan of them.
What's your favorite Cohen Brothers film?
Dude.
Is it Big Lebowski?
Big. I know you don't like that one so much.
I don't love it. I think it's overrated.
I need to see Hail Caesar.
I love Hell Caesar.
That's
one, probably my second favorite.
But I feel like you enjoy that one more just because it deals with like the studio system.
It deals with the studio system. Yeah, sure.
Like
that it kind of like grabs me specifically because of those reasons. Mm-hmm. It grabs me for that, but it keeps me for the storytelling, right? It keeps me for what it's trying to deliver. It's so great.
No, yeah, I just like I like how it really dives into the whole Western, how it was back in the day.
Right.
Especially with Meal Ticket. Like, man, that's such a sad story.
Yeah, such a real.
And like you said, right, these stories that you haven't really heard. I really didn't hear of a story of a kid that's useless without somebody, right?
Mm-hmm. Useless, but also
not useless. That's a
no. That's a good word.
It's a harsh word.
It is a harsh word, but it's a good word. But at the same time, it's because of them that the dad makes money to begin with.
Exactly. That's
why. And
exactly.
Isn't that? By the way, I think that film is a commentary on the entertainment industry.
Ooh, let me think about
child stars, right? Once they grow up and they're no longer the cute kid that can't get cast,
right?
I'm gonna replace you with my next act.
Yeah,
I think it's a commentary on that.
No, yeah, I mean, I just really love that whole aspect of it, right? I really like diving into like I'm a big Red Dead Redemption, so it kind of reminds me of that, right? So it's just the spontaneous of how you get killed. Death is a big part of it. So I probably give it an 8.6.
Okay.
Yeah, man, because it's not your typical Coen Brothers either.
Why lower? Just
why lower?
Why not a 9
some of
or
the
a 10
stories
or
just
whatever?
didn't attach to as much because they were just they're also in this very. I think the big challenge for you is that they're in this very weird old English, like historically accurate English that because of the way they speak, it seems like they're very verbose, or they're just going around like the main point. Like,
Not
especially
really.
like,
and I don't want to sound like one of those guys like, oh, they have singing. Really, the singing really takes me out of place, but I'm really starting to appreciate why they incorporate certain singing.
Yeah.
I don't know why I give it an 8.6. I just expected something different. It's kind of like Coen Brothers, kind of like Big Lebowski.
Yeah. But right now, it's a comfortable 8.6.
That's fair.
This guy really haven't thought.
I just wonder what
I'd probably give it more. I'd probably give it a 9. Probably. Just I really haven't really.
I processed it.
I really wouldn't know how to place this film.
Yeah, no, it is hard to place.
An
it is hard to
anthology
place.
about a western.
It's definitely not.
I like all 6 of them. I related a lot with the gold. Like, what would you do with it?
Yeah. You skunk.
Yeah. Let's talk about the last one. Oh, hold on.
Well, wait.
Yeah, okay.
We're finishing
8.6.
ratings, and then
Yeah.
I do like that
I
you
do
brought
want
up.
to
Theory about the last one.
I do like that you brought up the Red Dead because I feel like, especially like,
because have you played that game?
Yeah, I
That's
played
the
the
beautiful
first
about
one.
that game is like a lot of these open world games have nothing in it, and in Red Dead Redemption, you
see a world, right?
Yeah, you come across K burning the fucking.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, right? And it's like that, right? You can get shot. You can get fucking mauled by a bear.
Yeah, and then even when you go into like little side stories, like somebody's like, "Oh, hey, can you just help me out? I just got to take this over," and you learn about these whole things, and that's what I loved about like Red Dead is all the side stories.
Yeah.
And to me, this felt like a live version of all those side stories. But then you realize, like, especially like when they talk about like the fact that it was adapted, like there were so many untalked about stories of just the challenge with changing, because when gold was coming and people were going, I mean, they're like basing their entire livelihood, especially like him, as old as he is,
and trying
to hopefully get good enough skills where you can go to one spot and get the right gold, and then you'll be set for whatever your life is after that. And it's just, and then even that sense, like he got shot and almost died, and
he
like
didn't do nothing important.
Yeah, and then I mean, I've talked to doctors and I thought it was all important. Like I'm wondering, like, especially like he got shot here and then the whole
you know what's
here.
Funny?
Like,
I wouldn't put it past the Cohen brothers to like get interviewed right about. Tell us about Mr. Pocket, right? Tell us about gold. And he's like, well, yeah, the credits roll. And as he's walking into the woods, he dies.
Yeah.
Because he got shot.
Well, I'm thinking about how it was back in the day. They knew how to cure that a little bit easier with
snake
nature.
Oil? With snake oil?
You can't tell me that they knew better anything.
No. But they were a little bit more with nature. So they probably...
And you had to plug a hole.
Okay, so they can train a chicken to count. Like, that's all the nature connectivity they have.
I'm being very facetious about it. But I'm being very facetious about it.
How can a bird count anyway?
Yeah.
Good old Mr. Pocket and Lucky.
No, but yeah, 8.6. So what do you think,
Austin sir?
Man?
From what I've seen, I'd give it like an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there was anything special when it came to like the editing front, or do you feel like it just felt very standard? And
no, it's pretty standard. Nothing too crazy with it.
Was it all at the same time?
What do you mean?
The same like years?
Uh-huh.
I just think it's very general. I don't think that some parts are earlier in the...
No, I do think it's chronological. Like, we do start out in the earlier kind of 1800s, and then the Oregon Trail is a clear indication of where we're going. And then carriages for the last one, right?
But
so
the Oregon Trail was also like, when you talk to them, they've already done a couple of seasons. Like, it's something that's been happening.
That's why. Like, chronologically, it's accurate.
So you don't think the Oregon Trail was going on when Buster Scruggs was Buster Scruggin'?
Even if it was, like you said, it's been happening for a few seasons.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe. But I do think it's, like, accurately, at least historically.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, like, super strictly chronological, but it does head in the right direction.
Definitely has to, like, yeah.
Think about the town, right? Like, think about and I know it's a metaphor, but the architecture of the building that they get to in the last film,
way more advanced. Yeah,
that's true.
Something to note.
So so kind of like.
But again, it's kind of a metaphor too. So who knows?
Yeah. Do you feel like there's something it could have done better?
Huh? 8 of 8.
8 or 8?
8. 8.
I think he's making noises. I don't think it's a number.
Yeah. He's just grouping words together.
Down. That's just air escaping his mouth.
That's the air escaping from his fat leg.
Wow.
No,
it's
not
a
for you.
Futurama thing.
Yeah.
It's not you.
All right, Dingus.
Wingus.
Padingus.
Is there anything it could have done better? Or do you feel like
Dingus,
the
Wingus,
style?
Padingus. We got it.
Well, I haven't finished it like in completion.
That's
no,
fair.
I know, but from like the parts you were seeing, like, did you
get the meal ticket?
Which one's?
The one without the hands.
Oh
and
yeah.
Arms.
Yeah.
Which like.
You guys wouldn't do that to me, right? Like, let's say if I sang and danced, but like I didn't have any arms and legs.
It's business, bro.
It's business.
We'd be slashing your marketability in half if we take away your limbs so you can't dance anymore. So no.
Yeah.
It's bad for business.
It's bad.
Bad for business.
So yes, we would do that to you if you were in that position.
We'd do that for you. It's like sending you to the glue factory, right? Like it's like sending a horse to the glue factory. It's like, well, maybe if you're at the end of your run.
Like, okay, but let me expand that scenario a little bit more. It's 2024 and you find a chicken that can count. Do I get replaced on the podcast?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Because that chicken can give ratings.
Oh my god. Up to like
it rings
20
the bell for a 10, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
it's like, what do you think, Mr.
Let's
Chicken?
Carlos count.
A 5? No explanation needed there. Thank you for watching.
Nah, we'll play, man. We'll fight something for you.
You can take care of the chicken.
Have you
feed the
guys
chicken.
seen? I forgot what it was, but on like the BBC, like there was one of these guys going out and like interviewing like somebody.
A chicken? Oh, I was gonna say a chicken.
No. There's like a guy interviewing somebody, and I guess like over there when you're doing interviews, it's like polite to like offer them a tea, and you know you can be like drink. Yeah, so like they'll
In
be
the middle
walking
of the street?
Yeah, like I think they were interviewing somebody at like their house, but they offered them a tea, and then they're drinking it, but it's like a tea with a saucer, right? And the person they were interviewing only had one arm. So they gave him a tea, and the entire interview, you see this guy's like, and he just wants to walk around with the one arm,
bastard.
like, yeah, he can't like.
Okay, he can't just put it down near him, like
No
Hey,
one.
I went to Peter Piper
Bro.
earlier today, and the cashier had a stub on one arm, and
Yeah,
she was
dude.
doing stuff just fine.
Dude, I used to work with this guy
I'm
named
sorry.
Shorty. He had one hand and literally was the best with it, dude. He could do all types of shit with it. Dude. So I'm pretty sure that motherfucker.
Where did you work?
I know.
What is this?
What job?
Shorty, if you guys
Like,
are out there, Shorty.
What job requires this?
He was so good.
He was a body man.
He's the best.
He was a body man.
He was a body guy.
So
What does
I-
that mean?
I knew a body guy.
The carro. Carrocero.
Oh, got it.
See, you know.
But I'm not. But I'm saying like those guys figure out like
Sure.
how to
Sure,
freaking grab it right and shit.
Why did we get here? What did we?
Because this guy's saying T and he couldn't hold it with.
No, it just reminded me of old Stumpy, you know. What's his name? They didn't give him a name. I just know that his friend got loving once.
Oh yeah, his
Yeah.
dad wasn't his dad.
I don't think it's his dad.
That was his dad.
It was his
I don't
dad.
think it's his
Yeah, it
dad.
was his dad.
That's more fucked up.
It was his dad. Yeah, it's more. That's why it's more
Why,
fucked up.
why do you think it's his dad?
No, I thought it was like his uncle
They say
or
it in
some
the
shit.
dialogue.
When?
Yeah, watch. Go to the credits. Liam Neeson is impresario artist.
No, don't
That is
way.
gonna make
I'm
it
fairly
way
certain it
more
was
sad.
No,
dad.
I thought
Like,
like
he even calls him dad at one point
when
in the film.
calls who dad?
Liam Neeson's character.
He calls himself dad.
No,
No.
Tim. I think the guy that plays the guy.
The kid
Tim.
never says anything.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You think that? No, I feel like it makes it.
I read a theory that
Buster Scruggs is my dad.
that the impresario walked in on his wife having sex with another man, and it was the artist. So he cuts off his limbs and forces him to work for him.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't like you at all, but like I'll keep you for.
Yeah.
That's why.
Nothing confirmed. Just
Yeah, because it's such a
But he still
heavy.
feeds them. I mean,
Yeah, he
well, you
takes-
gotta keep him alive. It's his meal ticket, quite
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, but there's that only dialogue that tells you their relationship, which is, does he want any loving? It's like, oh, he's had it once. And that's it. That's all you know about their backstory.
That's part of the theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of the theory
It's
is
kind of
like,
like,
he had it once with my wife.
Damn, okay.
so,
I'm starting to like that theory now. That
but
is
also,
true.
I mean,
had it
you know,
once.
you can talk about like expressions because he doesn't really say anything other than the dialogue when he's on the stage, and he doesn't ever breaks that mold until that last one where he does a show and nobody pays anything, and then he kind of like stutters on the lines where he's like, the tales I told you have ended, and he just kind of pauses in between, looks around, kind of like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm not paying for it anymore. Kind of like he also knows I'm only here as long as, you know, people want to come to my show, you know?
And I gotta say that that kind of how do I put it? Like that lack of relationship or that lack of expression. I think it contributes a lot to like the Cohen Brothers. I feel like besides the Cohen Brothers, Wes Anderson is the only person who does it this well. in terms of having a large ensemble cast, quote unquote, and having Liam Neeson not play Liam Neeson. You know what I mean? Because like Neeson is, is the typical badass action star. Or, Where's My Daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, he's just so expressionless and so like, but
he's kind of desperate.
Yeah, he's kind of desperate.
Like when you see him, when he's
even
like
eating,
playing the pan, and he's like, he's drinking because like they're like having a rough time. Like he's kind of just like. He himself is at a rock bottom, traveling these grueling miles. Like you see him going through like the hills and
when
the
he has
cold.
to make the decision, when he sees the chicken and he finally hands over the money for the chicken, you see the pain in his face without having to say nothing. And,
you think it's pain?
The pain and
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I feel like he's
the pain of making the
than
decision. The pain of making the decision.
That I'm doing a different show.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Also, when he's driving away. And we see the chicken in the back, and we see the brick. And, like, when he's driving away and we see the river, we see that expression on his face, like...
I don't feel great about it.
But this is what I got to do to stay alive. This is what I got to do to survive. Man. Can't feed another mouth, but I can feed a chicken.
I can feed the shit out of a chicken.
No, and then even... You know what's interesting is I think the Coen Brothers are very intentional in, like, even the grain, the chicken feed. When they rip it open, he rips it open. He feeds the chicken.
Yeah,
it's abundant. Because he probably paid 5 cents for that bag, and it's gonna feed this chicken for fucking 3 weeks or whatever, and it's cheap. You know what I mean? Where he had to share his food with his act.
And
then at night he's also like kind of like wrapped around, which he could have just not been. Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting. I don't know. It's an interesting kind of question of empathy thing, right?
I feel like, I never said my rating.
You didn't.
You did not, sir.
Can I?
Sure. Nope. Please. We've moved on.
Because I want to hear about the cinematography.
You got to ask Gasso for permission.
See, mama. My liege.
Oh, my God. You can do whatever you want, kid.
Stuff is getting very frisky at the Tower Studios.
It's getting frisky and
you guys
risky,
like that?
if you know what I mean.
Put a comment.
If you like that.
If you want to see more of that.
Head
over to our only Castro.
Oh, my God.
On sport.
I'll give it a 9.
A 9?
A 9. I feel like a really, really good 9 because you can see the talent in the Coen Brothers for directing. Absolutely. Like you said, large ensemble cast. If any of these were to expand into like a feature, I know that
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with it, and like I'd want to explore the world because they're so real. They all like have that weight of like being there. Like I think that's what really caught me the first time when I watched the movie, and I love coming back into it because you feel the realism of every place. Even like the Buster Scruggs for a while was like my favorite because of how in the old Western movies when they shoot somebody they just kind of die and they're there and you don't really think about it afterwards. But like and they do it in these really like I'm the hero kind of ways, like the way they kill Surly Joe, where he kicks a wooden panel and he accidentally shoots himself. But it's almost like a cartoon, like shoots himself 3 times. His face is all black and then tips over. Yeah. Like,
did you notice when he shoots the bartender that there's literally a hole that you can see the light go through?
Yeah.
I was like, that's cartoonish.
Yeah, even like when he like every part about Buster Scruggs is such a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like even when he walks in and pats his chest and then the dust stays there in the perfect silhouette of his body.
But when you lean into the ridiculousness of it all, it's telling you, it's making a comment on that kind of story.
Yeah.
Which is?
That it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
That it's unrealistic, but it's also like, it's very real because again, how much can we build up a character only to like knock him down like almost like unceremoniously? Because when Buster Scruggs dies, it's like this like thump, like this weird like dull like, okay, he's dead. Guess he didn't get out of that one.
And when you see him, he just kind of like there's nothing that looks honorable. He just like he's some dude that just got shot. Yeah. Like I love that you brought up kind of like the unrealistic expectations of that, because when you hear about these old Western stories, especially like if you ever go to like those Western towns, like I remember
like El Paso.
Yeah.
Not on the old Western town.
Yeah. Well, I went to like the.
I fell in love with a Mexican girl.
That's cool.
How's Sandra doing?
Out at Rosa's Cantina?
Yeah.
Right.
But like when you look at like I went to like a Billy the Kid gift shop where they said, "Oh, that was one of the last like
you can't do that.
Messia.
Yeah, and like you go there and there's like a history behind it, but
they gotta be included.
They talk about all these urban legends of the old west of like the 6 dead in 5 seconds and stuff like that, and these like fast gunslingers and like nobody could catch them,
and then you have to wonder. Were people back then just bored? Like, did they hide in the reality of this story? Did they sensationalize what really happened? You know what I mean? Like, you have to wonder a bit,
I mean, kind of like they touched upon it a little bit in Back to the Future, at least in the third one, where it's like, oh, what happens if you don't go back out there? It's like, well, for the rest of your days, your name's gonna be the old, like, what is it? They say Clint Eastwood the coward, like, but that's what they did. They would they turned these legends where if somebody was great, they'd put them on this god level tier where they just were legendary in a town, and if they sucked, well, they're gonna put them at the bottom dirt underneath a pile of shit, kind of like place. And interesting seeing, I guess, like a legend die and that exploration of it. And I
have this weird kind of thought of like from seeing it from the second side, for the second time.
Yeah,
it's pretty violent, right? Towards the end, and especially
but it's so much fun, Anne.
That's the beauty of the Cohen Brothers. But it's so violent, right? And it's back in the Western times. Don't you think it's kind of like how it was back in the day when we used to watch like the Romans fight each other? Whereas I think the Coen Brothers are now seeing like, well, we can't do that, but we're watching this film of how it was back in the day.
Yeah, like you get to like almost like step into that world a little bit.
Like,
this
is what it was back in the day. This,
Yeah,
I feel like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs it's like a very well crafted long limerick. Like limericks or old like I know it's hilarious, but like the songs that Will Ferrell sings in The Other Guys at the bar.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's what these films are. And I think that's kind of beautiful. I think it's just like, well, my old wife was Tina or whatever the fuck he sings, and then it's just like, and then she died of disease, and there was no happy ending. Like,
what do you sing these songs?
It's depressing. They have a lot of rich history in them. That's all it is. Like,
I love the song at the very end, sang by. Oh man, came out in Banshees. What's his name?
Dude, I didn't realize who his fucking son was until we screened this. By the way,
who's his son?
His son is
Harrison Ford.
Definitely not Harrison Ford. I'm trying to look at the credits.
Whose son?
Go to the last episode.
Brendan Gleeson.
Near Algadores. Brendan Gleeson. His son is Domhnall Gleeson. Do you guys know who Domhnall Gleeson is?
Who?
IMDb Domhnall Gleeson. You guys know who Domhnall. Domnhall.
As I was walking
NH
down by the lock.
ALL Gleeson. It's right there. He's right there. That's Domhnall Gleeson.
Oh my God.
That's his son, man.
I know who that is.
I just rewatched About Time the other day because I was
watched
feeling
The
depressed.
Revenant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, too.
Oh my God.
He was in Harry Potter.
Dude,
he was
his
in
son
Star
sucks.
Wars. He was in fucking everything. He's been in fucking everything.
It's a joke.
But his dad was also in Gangs of New York. So fuck you.
Wow, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, anyways. That's his son. Brendan Gleeson, fucking phenomenal.
And like,
yeah.
I was going to say.
And that's cool that he's not really known because of his dad.
That song at the very end, I remember it stuck with me so much after watching it, and I would just like play that song over and over again because that weird beauty and acceptance of death at the very end, because you've seen all these things that happen. Death just kind of happens. Nobody's.
Exactly.
What an interesting story that nobody's really avoiding it. Everybody just expects it. Like people just kind of die. Even like when they're in the wagon train and like when the husband dies, like, well, do you want to put a tombstone or no? Just okay. We'll just leave him there because he died.
The brother.
Yeah, the brother. And then oh, do you want to get rid of the dog? Okay, we'll get rid of the dog. And like,
by the way, I love these titles. Like the Oregon Trail one you're talking about is called The Gal Who Got Rattled. And when you get to the end,
That's all it is.
You know, The Mortal Remains, by the way, which is the one we're talking about, the last one, my favorite episode. That fucking film haunts me.
Yeah.
And deeper ways than one, because we're so misled.
We're talking about the one at night in the banquet?
Well, it doesn't start out at night, right? Like the change of lighting.
Yeah.
And that fucking...
Oh, I didn't even realize.
If you watch it again
dude.
and just fast forward it just to view how like they did it and how practically they did it, like, oh my God, it looks so good.
I didn't even notice that's how good it is.
It's so, and it's so subtle. You're just watching it thinking like, okay, it's like daytime, and as day's turning into night, it just
as
like
it gets glimmer, or not glimmer, as it gets
dimmer?
glib, more glib, right? As
with the story,
the story.
glib.
What's the Webster's Dictionary definition of
glib? Dark.
Can you wait?
Yeah, fucking Google it. Glib, GLIB.
I'll never get over that. I was in high school and I was like, hey man, like,
what is it?
Of word or the person speaking to them, fluent or voluble?
Oh.
I can't see. There we go.
Yeah, insincere, shallow. Like when they're talking to the old lady, right? And like she's like high and mighty, and like she's like, no, dude, like you're full of shit. And like,
no, and also
as the story progresses and it gets darker and it gets more like uncomfortable. So does the set design, and the time of day, and the deeper we get into the topic of death and the conversation, because the main theory behind this conversation is that it's people who are dying, it's people who are on their way to the final resting place, and like even like
it's not them
already being
just dead up there.
No, I don't think so. It's like your last moments. It's like that purgatory before stepping into the final resting place.
So like dead. Beetlejuice.
Kind of, but
sandworm.
Spoilers.
Right.
It's in the first
but
one.
like I love stories like that, because I do think, I'm not on a spiritual level, so to speak, or anything, but I do think there's that weird interim where like you get to count back at your life and see, was it all fucking worth it? Was it, what can I still process what the next chapter is going to be? I'm actually writing a script right now that has a lot to do with that. And like, I love it. I love that interim. Like, I love that little interim of like reflection. And you're basically like, I think of it as like, this is the next group. Like if you go to like fucking Disneyland or whatever, and you're in a queue with 5 other people, strangers.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and you have to, you're forced to talk to them while you wait for the ride to start or whatever. And it's like, this is the next group of individuals being let into the resting place, into the afterlife. And that conversation is like, none of them, well, 2 of them, because they're like the Grim Reapers, right?
Yeah, the
2 Grim Reapers who like are aware that they're transporting bodies into wherever they're going. The other 3 have no idea they're dying, until they realize it. Especially the old lady who's in denial.
Dying? Or
that they're dying. Or that they're dead.
How would
dead,
that work?
Right?
Okay.
It's that last breath thing. I think this whole story takes place in each of these individuals' final breath.
Yeah, but that kind of doesn't make sense, that theory.
Why?
Because if they're kind of dying, what is it? Their life flashing before their eyes?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. But this conversation, this is like how they process death. Each of them is a visual representation of how people cope with death, of their own dying.
Oh, I gotta see.
Like she's very much in denial. Mm-hmm. She's very much in denial of her life being.
And the other 2?
And the other 2 had their own processes. One man sang. One man found comfort in singing in his last moment. The other man found comfort in like discussing other stories, like the French guy. Like I think it's how they process death, but I do think it's like so deep that this is happening in each of their final breaths.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
Like this is how they're processing their own death. And by the time they get to the final resting place, nobody wants to take that first step. Nobody wants to get in there. It's the final step.
Well, that guy, that actor with the
French guy.
The monologue. Oh my god!
But I love how he does it. Right,
such a good performance.
Puts the top hat, taps it. All right, it's inevitable. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like it's genius.
Yeah,
it's fucking.
Even
genius.
the way they edit it. But,
yeah.
No, and then also that dichotomy and visually of the old trapper who's this like dirty old man who just sits out in the forest and all that kind of stuff, and her being this high society. I love the notion that everybody gets tripped out by. Yes. Like, oh, what does your husband study? And it's like, oh, moral hygiene. Like this bogus science, also spiritual idea that like if you follow these things, then your soul is cleansed for like the transition over. And it's like, guess what? You die just like everybody else dies. Like there's no like,
and it's a representation.
You're sitting right next to them. Yeah,
it is very much a representation of society. She represents religion. You know, he represents recluse. You know, the French guy represents kind of. Realists, I think realists in the world.
That last one again. I love that.
I think it's just like the cynic, you know, kind of like the cynic of society.
The realist, the cynic, yeah, for sure. And then the
French guy.
I kind of feel like Gleason's character represents the artist. You know, how he processes life and interprets life and death. And then you have the two fucking Grim Reapers or whatever they are, who have no skin in the game. They're just observing these people like. It's just another hall, you know, like...
No, but Gleason's character is one of the Reapers.
He is, you're right.
Yeah, I was going to say...
But he's the comforting side, and the other guy is just the, like... That's it, you know? Like I just watch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. That one sticks with me.
That's your favorite?
So much, yeah.
It used to be the
meal ticket. It used to be the meal ticket because of just what it makes you feel, right? But the Mortal Remains one, dude, that you could write a textbook on that fucking short film, and you could
a whole bag.
You could spend one episode talking about the meaning of that and the meaning of life through cinema in one. What is it? 20-minute short, maybe? Maybe less.
No, and also in. It's just very impressive to see these dialogue pieces where for a while you're listening and they feel so detached till you see all of them kind of just like come in, you know?
Like the common thread.
That's true.
Yeah, they each have a monologue that they get to spend where it's their last kind of moments talking, and then it all gets to the very end where it's just like they're arguing with each other, and then song of just like, hey, like the song is about this guy like dying. And he's just like, well, just put some flowers around me so that way people don't smell me after I die. Yeah. Like I'm here. I'm just gonna let 6 pretty maidens carry my coffin and put a bunch of roses so hopefully you don't smell me, and then I get buried, and that's it. And that kind of like nail in the coffin tonally of them just accepting like, okay, death is here, you know?
Yeah, but it's again, all of them are processing it in this inevitable way. Like it's like, okay,
yeah. One guy thinks people are like ferrets.
Right.
Yeah, and the other one are like...
The other one's like, I've cleansed my soul because I lived the best way.
The pure life.
And then the other guy is just like, everybody lives a life. Everybody's shit stinks. Like, you're no different. Like, don't pretend there's something better about you. And they all just have to accept that. Like, at the end, it didn't matter.
And also, like, she reveals so much of her high horse of a life because... Her husband and her were separated for 10 years.
Yeah, and
before she died. But she's like, my husband, the doctor, whatever. It's like, dude, you're not even together. Like, he's probably fucking somebody else.
Yeah,
right now.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, or he has been, or he's dead, and you don't even know. Like, there's so much to that. Do you guys have a favorite?
Man, meal ticket. But man, after hearing that, probably the last one.
I think it just has so much to say. I think
it's just like
Cohen Brothers, like again, on the general audience would be like, "Fuck, are you gonna end with that one, really?" Me, I'm like,
of course,
it's perfect fucking way to end this film.
I can't decide between meal ticket and that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's pretty good.
I feel like everybody's like favorite people who I have talked to who love Ballad of Buster Scruggs, they love the gold one. The gold one.
I was gonna say, I think the gold one.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Why? Do you put yourself in that situation?
Okay, for like a personal reason.
Yeah.
Aside from, yeah, dude, like fucking skunks. No.
Measly skunk.
There I am, just trying to gas up my car, and somebody shoots me so they can steal my gas. No.
Make him do all the work. He's like on set. The law's on set, and he's like lugging gear. And then somebody comes and takes the credit. And he's like, "You make me do all the work, and you take the credit. You measly skunk."
And I have a donkey for some reason named Lucky.
His name's Lucky.
Yeah,
that's your car. That's your
name.
that
is my car. Good old Lucky. No, I'm a big admirer of like Ansel Adams' work. and like depictions of the untouched West, and I guess that kind of like beauty that goes into it, but also the kind of like harsh reality that people weren't there for, like the beauty that was like the untouched like frontier. It was like gaining opportunity, like, you know, to go and settle land, you'd be paid money because you're developing that area, or like if you went with a wife, you're probably gonna have kids, so they pay you more. And like with him, he goes there just being like, hey, nobody's touched this. Good opportunity for like money. And I don't know, it just to me, I feel like that one just embodies the mentality of like a lot of these Western stories. It's always people just like clawing at trying to get lucky and find better opportunity for themselves while somebody else is trying to gain. Because
what
after
that dog eat dog,
it's a dog eat dog, because just where he's like working his like damned hardest to just try to like get enough so that way he can be happy and have enough. There's somebody who will work a lot less, but work just to screw him over if he gets lucky. And like the wagon trail one, that was like a much smaller depiction of that, but that was like you know, this kid swindles these people who are going to go travel to Oregon to hopefully have a better life, but says, oh, but if we get there, I get paid $400. And they're like, that's a high price. But that was the way society was. It's like, I'm just going to leech off the guy who's richer so I can make it further. And everybody's just clawing on each other. And that was kind of like, I don't know, a really nice embodiment. Plus, I remember when I watched it, credit to it being an anthology, it was such a nice break.
Oh yeah,
in
from
like
all the
pacing. Yeah, because you see Buster Scruggs get shot, then you see
the bank robber.
You see the bank robber, and it was kind of like, oh, this guy comedically, but like just kind of like can't get a foothold. And when he gets hanged, he doesn't even get hanged for the right reason. He gets hanged for like cattle rustling. Like,
instead of bank robbing.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The gold one takes place even after Meal Ticket, doesn't it?
No, so if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the gold one.
No,
and
it's
then
after.
No, because I think after's Meal Ticket, and then I think after that one is the Oregon Trail.
Huh, okay.
Fact check me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's the way.
I think you're right. Well, for sure, the Gal That Got Rattled is right before the Mortal Remains. Those for sure are the last two.
Yeah.
Right before the Gal That Got Rattled. Can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah, my bad. Intern.
Do they have the names?
Yeah, they do. So, Ballad of Buster Scruggs is one. Near Algodones is the second one, which is the bank robber one. And then Meal Ticket. Yeah, do you see? So the Gold Canyon is that's the break. So the darkest one almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, break.
I just remember that it was like a really like, I needed that. But like you see like birds and deer and butterflies and you're just like, oh, this is pretty.
Yeah.
And then, you know, but it really does upswing you.
Yeah,
so you can handle the rest of it.
handle the rest.
Yeah, because then right after that one, the wagon one is so hard. Like,
that, ladies and gentlemen.
And everybody thinks of the dog, right? Everybody thinks, oh, that little fucking dog's gonna get it. Like something's gonna happen to that dog,
for sure.
Right? Like, especially because they're setting it up. Like everybody hits the dog. We're gonna go put him down.
When we're watching, he was. I think he was saying, or I don't know who was saying, but like, he probably just said that the dog ran away so she'd feel better. But then no, the dog's fine. Yapping in the middle of the
But again, it's misleading you. It's a great sleight of hand because it's like, oh, you thought the dog was gonna die. Wait till you get to the end. Dog makes it. It's the fucking girl. And then like that, by the way, I think it's such a great use of something that's used and reused and has been reused since cinema has existed, which is the book. Oh. Right? That last line of the gal that gets rattled.
Upstairs.
What?
Sorry, you guys didn't hear that?
No.
Okay. I heard it twice. Okay, we're good.
What, like somebody upstairs?
No, it just seemed like somebody growling up there.
The burping?
Yeah.
That last line in The Gal Who Got Rattled is, hold on, I'm looking for the name of the character. Wait, right there. Mr. Arthur didn't know how he was going to tell Billy Knapp.
Oh, my God.
What a fucking line.
Hey, remind me again?
So Mr. Arthur was the old guy.
Yeah.
And, so she kills herself because he gives her the instruction to kill herself if things go south. So now he has to go tell his partner who just propositioned a woman to get married, "Did you make it, pal? She fucking killed herself because I told her to." So like the line is, Mr. Arthur didn't know how he was going to tell Billy Knapp.
But what's also great about that is the entire time you're seeing the relationship between Arthur and Billy Knapp, he's like, I don't know if I'm getting through to him. Like,
Right.
I'm talking to him and everything.
Right.
And it just feels like that man's so in his head about the wagon train and, hey, if you're going to come or you're going to go, it doesn't make me no never mind. Like, he's just chill about the whole thing. But what an extra punch that after the short's over or after like that segment's over.
Like, now Mr. Arthur has to deliver the news of his love fucking shooting herself
and showing
I
that
instructed her
that
to.
showing Arthur actually was listening the entire time and cared, you know.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, but I love that because at the end of if you pay enough attention, at the end of every page, there's that one final line that kind of gets you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's great. And again, I say because it's reused and reused, and Disney really trapped that in the 50s with Snow White or with any fairy tales.
Winnie
like we're gonna open the book and close the book and like
True Blood and
Oh, like Shrek.
or like Shrek, yeah.
Well, Shrek was making fun of the fact that that's so
Exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Shrek doesn't make fun of anybody. Shrek is
making fun of everybody. That's the thing.
Shrek is live.
Should and he could and he will.
Shrek is love.
Yeah.
Who's the like fashion lady that they made fun of in the second one that died?
Fashion lady?
Yeah.
Tara Banks or what was her name?
No.
Tyra Banks, so she's not dead.
It's
She ain't dead, dude.
Oh, he said that she was dead?
No, it's like when they're going down the runway and it's like, oh, there goes Prince Fiona wearing.
Oh, Joan
Rivers?
Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
She's just a critic.
Yeah, but they are making fun of her.
Yeah. Well,
Here comes Fiona with for sure.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Much like the ending of the Cohen Brothers films.
Or the Cohen Brothers as a duo.
Oh,
That's true.
dude,
That's really
pretty
important to note. This was the last film that the Coen Brothers made together.
good. Not in a bad way or anything.
Who
They
knows?
just wanted.
That's we just need a break.
Maybe one of them slept with the other's wife. Who knows?
That wife would be Frances McDormand, my friend.
Ew.
What do you mean ill?
I said, ugh.
What's the difference?
Like,
Where he puts the U.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, Frances McDormand is married to Joel Coen.
who now is working
So she's
with
like the Yoko of the Beatles.
I don't think so. I mean, she was in Fargo. She was in Burn After Reading. She was in...
French Dispatch.
They always call...
Oh, that's her. Oh shit, my bad. I tried to think who it was.
Frances McDormand.
Yeah.
They always
She's cool as
call...
hell.
Hell yeah. They always call the Coen brothers... They always call Joel more of the director and Ethan more of the writer.
Oh, okay.
I thought they called them the Cohen Brothers.
They did. But I think, like, even when Joel, like, when they kind of stopped doing this, Joel went to go direct a Shakespeare adaptation with Denzel.
Macbeth?
Yeah, the Tragedy of Macbeth.
Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah.
And Ethan went to go do, like, these, like, quick-witted Hollywood, like...
Which ones?
Coming of age films. I don't know how to describe
Oh, no,
them.
yeah, no, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
with
I've
Mark
seen a couple.
Macaulay, and like he's made a few films that are just kind of in that vein.
Yeah. I
These
recently
kind
saw
of indie, like punk rock, kind of like heist films, or these punk rock kind of like two chicks. You know, like
One.
No.
I've seen that movie.
Dude,
I was in that.
we could get banned.
Go to
That was
Ethan
fun.
Cohen's.
That was fun.
Go to Ethan Cohen's tab. Really
Who
quick.
directed that
You
video?
already have. Oh, have it open. Go down.
He looks so much happier with those, brother.
I think
So,
the
like, go
girl
to
with
directing?
the cup. Not the girl without the cup. I think
He
she's
did
the-
Drive Away Dolls, for instance. Like that's his latest one. And if you click on Drive Away Dolls, it's very much that
Hail
like
Caesar?
Margaret Qualley.
Oh, no, that was a way
And like it's this punk rock coming of age shit.
I love her,
thing,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It
So
looked
that's
cool.
his style. That's what he's directing. Joel is making the Tragedy of Macbeth. You know what I mean? Like they kind of wanted to explore some shit.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I can't blame either one.
Ballad of Buster.
Yeah. Well, next week,
Ballad of Buster Scruggs, ladies and gentlemen.
we're doing it again.
It's worth it, man. It's not what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check it out.
We're going to talk
Go check it out
about
and
more
talk, you know,
ballads and more busters.
It's worth
and
it.
less Scruggs.
And we're scrugging it.
And we're scrugging it.
I thought I was going to hate it, man.
I'm gonna scrug it.
I thought it was a good pick for westerns because
It's
it's
unconventional
unconventional. Like I feel like
First,
we-
I didn't know it was an anthology. I thought it was just about like, this guy that was happy killing people. But no, I'm glad.
you're glad that it's lit. So you just thought it was
just about
Buster
Buster
Scruggs,
Scruggs.
like
Oh,
busting
yes,
some
yes, yes.
Scruggs.
I didn't
you
know it
know?
was like this whole thing.
Next week we'll be talking about. I have no fucking idea.
1959's
How about
Orson Welles' debut directing
Y'all
film.
get to. I know we can't do that. Damn it.
Oh, you're gonna point at the audience and be like, "Now it's your turn."
So it's either between There Will Be Blood, True Grit.
We're not doing
and Brokeback Mountain. We're not doing There Will Be Blood.
Oh no, yeah, damn, my bad.
Okay, fine. It's between Brokeback Mountain.
So it was True Grit and
Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, and then which one's the other one?
I don't know. That's your pick.
No, but we were talking about it in the group chat.
There was a third one that he's.
I don't know.
Let's go to the group chat. Oh, it's so hard.
Wait.
Oh, was it No Country? No, right? No.
Yeah, it was No Country.
It can be. I
no,
kind
it
of
was
let go of No Country. No, I had this thought like I
Brother
wanted.
though?
No.
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
Is that a Western?
Yeah, I don't think that's a Western.
When did they
I guess
stop
not.
wearing white stripes?
I forgot which one was the other one.
There's a year.
True Grit.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
Well,
Hold on.
Hold on, we're almost there.
standing by.
Oh, Django.
Django.
D silent.
D silent.
The
The
Django.
D ain't silent.
The dog. Can you spell me?
So I don't know which one do you guys want.
Me?
You forgot
True
the
Grit.
D.
Django.
Me.
What do you guys want? Tarantino?
Nah.
No.
Django was my favorite
Oh,
Tarantino
what
film
about The
for a
Hateful
long
Eight?
time. The Hateful Eight is a Western.
Gasso doesn't like the Hateful Eight.
No, dude, I fell asleep. I thought it was Denzel because it's Denzel.
You
and
only
it's
fell asleep because it
Training
wasn't
Day
the
director.
extended version.
Denzel's not in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
No, it's not.
Sam
Samuel
Jackson.
No, hold on.
For Training Day?
Which one are we talking about?
The Hateful Eight.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Magnificent Seven.
No. That's Ethan Hawke and Denzel.
Yeah.
No.
Ethan Hawke was.
Oh,
in
the Hateful Eight.
Yes,
My bad,
he
dude.
was. Ethan Hawke?
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. Look
Brain
up the
farting right
Magnificent
now.
Seven.
Magnificent Seven, the new one with the guy who played Star Lord.
Yes.
Would you guys want to do?
with Ethan Hawke?
Yes.
What?
We're not talking about that right now.
Just search it up though.
Tombstone?
No, actually, that would because that kind of reminds me of that of the wagon.
The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
That's your call,
Next
man.
week,
Would you guys wanna
Cowboys
do that one
versus Aliens.
That's one of Austin's favorite films. Like
Cowboys
of all
versus
time.
Aliens?
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, the Hateful Eight.
There's no Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, just because his name's in the credits doesn't mean he's in the
I
film.
told you, bitch.
Good Night, Rabidicus. What is his name?
Good night.
Ribicho.
See, this one it has a good cast, but
I
I just,
forgot Vincent D'Onofrio's in this shit, dude. I
just-
love him.
I fell asleep. I
Okay,
don't know.
we're gonna watch Libya Huns.
If you guys want to see that one, so it's True Grit or which one's it?
Tombstone.
True Grit, Hateful Eight,
Or Hateful Eight.
Django.
Because I've seen it a couple
Brokeback.
times. I haven't seen the extended version. I kind of liked it. I kind of when you
Hateful
get to the Hateful Eight.
Well, look, if we decided to do True Grit, which I love, I think is a phenomenal Western.
The original or the remake?
The remake.
Remake.
Both are great, but the remake specifically, it's another Cohen Brothers film. I don't know if you guys care at all if that's the case.
I thought that would be kind of cool. You know, we can explore.
More Cohen.
Yeah, a little more Cohen.
Which one? The old one?
True Grit is
True Grit.
the new one.
Oh,
is
okay.
Cohen Brothers film.
And I've heard.
It was my favorite Coen Brothers film before I saw Hell Caesar.
I've also heard people say that they didn't think they could top the original True Grit, but it really
I
did.
really fucking
Ooh,
did.
okay.
Nah, Old
It's
Brother, where I thought was the
terrific.
best Coen Brothers film.
I
haven't
love
seen
Old
it. I haven't
Brother.
seen it.
It holds a special place.
Is it
in my
also
heart.
with George Clooney?
I like
It's
watching.
the trailer, I
It's
think.
Clooney, Tim Blake Nelson, and Turturro. John Turturro.
Oh really? Oh yeah, I've seen the trailer for sure. I've seen it. No, so
The Soggy Bottom Boys. That's the name of their
True
band.
Grit.
True
What is it,
Grit.
True Grit?
True Grit.
True Grit.
All right, True Grit it is.
True Grit.
All right, so Django.
All right.
Django.
Has anybody seen True Grit?
No.
Oh, great. You
No, I
have.
have.
I have too. I love it. It's great. That's it.
All right.
Django.
Just out of curiosity here. Has everybody seen Django?
Yes.
Django.
Have you never
doubt.
seen Django?
I've seen him.
Has everybody seen The Hateful Eight?
I've seen them. You gotta make sure how you answer the
I've seen
question,
it.
bro.
I've seen it.
I've seen some clips.
Okay. Everybody seen The Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
You've never seen The Hateful Eight either?
I thought you guys were like
He's a very big.
Nah.
I like it. I don't love it.
It's one of
like-
my favorite Tarantino films.
really. Oh, okay, so you were the one that kind of made me watch it again. Because I remember I didn't like it, and you were like,
I'm
"Nah, it's
always
good."
the guy who like. You asked me, have I seen it? I
Just curious. I was just curious, but okay. Brokeback. Has anybody seen Brokeback?
I have not.
have
seen
you?
I have.
Of course you have.
It's straight. It's great.
It. Of course, yeah.
Probably my favorite Heath Ledger thing.
Really?
Get the fuck out of here,
Fuck
bro.
you, it is.
Nah, you and your
It's
film,
also
fuck
the
you.
best fucking Jake Gyllenhaal thing. I don't care what you say.
You do not have to
It's
say
the
that.
best performance from those two fuckers.
Look, we all know you love film.
You don't
but
get those
come
too
on.
often.
We all know it's the Joker. Come on.
No, I feel like everybody just says that.
I just recently, Sandra made me watch that 10 Things I Hate About You movie. It's so fucking stupid.
Oh, is it the one where
I
he like
love
sings?
you, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That actress, though, she was good. She could have done something, man.
What happened to her?
She came back.
Dance, the one.
She just started in something recently. She's coming back.
Yeah, I forget her name.
She's part of that camp, the trap guy. What's his name?
M. Night?
No, the lead, the actor.
And Josh Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett. She's part of that era, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are starting to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways,
Well, next week, True Grit.
next week, True Grit.
The truest.
The Truest of Grits.
You, baby.
Starring Matt Damon, Jeff Bridges, Haley Steinfeld. Find out next week why she gets nominated for an Oscar at 13. Join us then. Thank you for tuning into the WatchTower Film Podcast, and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Check out the film. Love you guys.
Quick, give me your best cowboy impersonation.
Like from the down south or from where?
Okay, Carlos, you're next.
You measly skunk.
You meatless skunk. That I like how that's not a cowboy. He's just
He wasn't a cowboy?
He's a boy cow, you know.
He's a boy cow.
Austin.
This is our year. Oh, sorry, like,
Fucking idiot.
I think mine was the best. Then.
That's the best one, you know. We'll get him next year.
this is our year.
Yours?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, let's try my.